Hi guys, it's me, Miss Farr. I'm continuing my practicum for school with giving you some lessons and some work to do at home online. We're gonna start off by continuing our read aloud with In the Year of the Boar and Jackie Robinson. So we left off, we read chapters about September and October. So in the comments below, I want you guys to leave some comments with some of the different stuff you remember. Then everyone else can read the comments and be all caught up and know what's happening in the story. So remember stuff that she went back to school and she made those friends, and then she was babysitting the triplets and listening to the World Series outside Mr. P's, all that stuff. The secret she had about money from her dad and the buttons, anything you guys can remember that'll just jog your memory. And then we're going to start on this chapter about November. It's called Mooncakes Without Grandfather. So, leaning out the kitchen window, Shirley and her parents watched the crescent moon drift through the clouds. Below, a lone maple shriveled in the wind, shedding leaf after leaf that scooted down the lane without so much as a backward glance. No one spoke. All knew they were thinking the same thoughts. How could they have let the eve of the Mid-Autumn Festival slip by without realizing it? Americans did not commemorate the fullest moon of the year, but the Wongs had done so for centuries. If Grandfather had not sent the moon cakes, would they have remembered at all? True, the clan was far away, and there were no courtyards to gather in, but that was all the more reason for them to recall the glow of reunion under the stars. Each had an excuse. Mother had not been feeling well. Father had been toiling day and night to repair the leaks that sprouted throughout the house like chicken pox, and Shirley had been moping for weeks over the loss of the World Series. But no excuse eased the sadness that welled in their hearts. So that short paragraph right there had something we like to look for when we do read-alouds in it. It had a simile. I'm going to read that paragraph again, and I want you guys to comment below what you think the simile was in this paragraph. So, each had an excuse. Mother had not been feeling well. Father had been toiling day and night to repair the leaks that sprouted throughout the house like chicken pox. And Shirley had been moping for weeks over the loss of the World Series. But no excuse eased the sadness that welled in their hearts. Now the moon itself disappeared, swallowed by a cloud. Father closed the window, and together the family returned to their seats at the dining table. On each plate was a golden moon cake, filled with lotus seeds and honey. Shirley started to take a bite, then stopped. She did not deserve such a delicious treat. A tear escaped. Then another. Mother dried her cheeks, smiling a brave smile. Let us pretend we were there, and tonight is the 15th day of the 8th moon. This table the altar in the garden of celestial harmony. This covering not oilcloth, but red brocade, embroidered by the ladies of the House of Wong. This bowl not empty, but one of 5, filled with grapes, apples, peaches, melons, and pomegranates. Offerings to the gods for the longevity of our clan, the salt, incense, the pepper, candles. And all around, Shirley said, transported by the dream. Flowers, in the air the smell of jasmine. Overhead the biggest and brightest of moons, so near that we can see the hair that strands under the acacia tree, pounding the elixir of life in a jade mortar. The paper lanterns are dancing in the willows while a musician plays on the lute. There sit my father and mother, Father continued, surrounded by clansmen. The harvest is in, and we are all together from near and far to celebrate with the reading of poetry, the bond of all bonds, family. Once again, no one spoke, but this time the silence was gentle, like a pause in a piece of beautiful music, when one melody has ended and another is yet to begin. At last, Shirley spoke. I wish— What do you wish, my daughter? I wish I were the girl in grandfather's story. Which one? The one about the daughter and the loving bride. My father tells so many, it's hard to be sure, Shirley. You tell it again. This too will bring us home. By bring us home, they mean bring them back to feeling close with their old family and all that stuff. She nodded, then began to tell it as grandfather would, slowly. Long, long ago, there lived a most honorable man who owed much of his good fortune to the kindness of his friend. And so when their wives were both with expectant happiness, they vowed, even before the babies left the womb, that should one be a girl and the other a boy, they would be married, and indeed a daughter and a son were born. Before the children could crawl, the friend was named by the emperor to an important post in the capital. On the day he left, his last words were, "When my son is of age, he will come back to claim his bride." To which the father replied, "No other honor could make us as happy or as proud." The years passed, and the child grew into a maiden, admired by all for her beauty and goodness. One day, while she was walking by the river, she happened upon a young fisherman. Although they had never met before, they immediately knew that their fates had decreed for them a love as faithful as the North Star. And so, when it was time for him to go up river, she ran away with him. They lived happily as man and wife, but always there was sadness too. Not a moment passed that they did not think of her poor parents and the dishonor of a promise broken. After they had been away 10 years, the daughter implored her husband to return to their home town. "I cannot live any longer without begging my parents for forgiveness." When the boat anchored along the banks where they first met, the daughter asked the fisherman to go ahead to explain. He agreed, asking her to come along an hour later. At the house, he fell upon his knees before his in-laws and confessed the wrong he and their daughter had done. The couple looked mystified. "How can this be? How can this be? Our daughter has never left home. She has always been at our side. She has never married. For her betrothed died in battle," meaning the man she was supposed to marry died in battle. Now it was the husband who cried, "How can this be? How can this be?" Precisely at that moment the garden echoed with temple bells. In the distance were 2 women, one to the left of the cypress tree and one to the right. Slowly they walked toward each other. Beneath the evergreen, the 2 figures merged into one. She came into the house and kowtowed 3 times before the fisherman and the old man and his wife. She was no stranger, but the love of their hearts. She was wearing 2 gowns, one that belonged to the fisherman's wife and one that belonged to their daughter. For many moments there was no sound save the hum of the refrigerator in the next room. Then Shirley said in a small voice, "It is so sad, mooncakes without grandfather. When will we all be together again?" "Perhaps someday soon." The question hovered in the air hauntingly. And then next is the last chapter, December. I'll read that in another video to give you guys a chance to kind of think about everything that happened, and if you want to comment about why you think she wanted to be that girl and why she told them that story, you can. And then I look forward to reading all you guys' comments.